Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Sports Buzz presented by 1450 WXVW. This is Louisville's only live TV sports talk show. We're here every Sunday night from 11 to 12. We're taking your phone calls at 964-2121. If you got a question, give us a call. I'm your host, Greg Brom. Joining me again tonight, our man TJ Walker, the sports talker, is back. You can listen to him every weekday from 4 to 6 on 1450. You can read his stuff on the Rival site. He's here about once a month. We love having him on. And TJ, I want to start off with the Louisville baseball game today. I tell you what, it was gut-wrenching. The way that Louisville went down today, up 3-0. Zach Birdie is on the mound. He is their closer. I mean, he brings the hammer down, and the game is over when he comes in. And going into the bottom of the ninth, you know, in your mind, it did cross my mind, there's only one thing really bad that could happen this inning when you're only up 3.
Yeah.
And that is if you let the bases get loaded and that one swing, because Birdie brings it. And when you bring it at 100 miles an hour, sometimes if you make a little bit of contact, it goes out at about 120. But in that last inning, I mean, gut-wrenching, a home run, a guy who was pinch hitting, a true freshman. He had hit 1 home run the entire year, had 26 at-bats. He comes in against Birdie, the first-round draft pick, and boom, season over in one swing, and you could have heard a pin drop in Jim Patterson Stadium. I mean, I don't know, what were you thinking when you saw that today?
Well, one, I didn't get to watch the majority of the game, but when I turned it on, it was the 9th inning, and I thought to myself, I'm going to turn it on, and Louisville's going to get a double play, and it's going to be right over. I wanted it to go to extras because I wanted to be able to finally watch it once I got home. But it was, he was up in the count 1-2, and he missed. He missed on the pitch. That's not where he wanted to put it. No pitcher will want to put it there, and they made him pay for it. And that is the fact that you end your season on that. And a game that Louisville really dominated for 8 innings and had several chances to build on that lead.
They let them hang around.
It is. They did. And it's got to be frustrating for
Santa Barbara hang around.
Dan McDonnell and Louisville fans.
Oh, it really does. What a great year. And you know, when I really look at how the last inning unfolded, I mean, Dan McDonnell, you know, Birdie's his guy. I mean, he's going to stick with Birdie. Yeah. You go with what brought you there. You maintain it. You stay with it. Dan did that he let Birdie hang around with the bases loaded. He walked 2 in a row. But what Birdie did, and I hate to say, the only thing I would say that he forgot what his bread and butter was. He was throwing a lot of off-speed pitches. I think it was a changeup the guy hit out. A couple pitches before that, he's blowing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. The batter literally barely got the bat around far enough to foul one directly over the third base dugout. I mean, he was very late on the ball, and by throwing, from what it seemed like watching the replay, I think some of the announcers said he threw a changeup. The bat is allowed to catch up to the pitch. Yeah. A late swing can catch up. I mean, I think through quite a few sliders, and when you're throwing 100, man, just throw 100, put it right over the plate, let them hit it, and let your fielders field. That's probably the only error I would say was made there. Was he didn't live and die with that fastball. You know, so I mean, you hate that it ends on one swing. One swing, and the season's over. He walked a couple batters right before the home run. And you know, Louisville really lost it. They didn't hit the ball. They didn't hit the ball that well. They scored 3 runs in 1 inning today. 1 inning, all their production. Yesterday, they had 2 runs. So they really didn't string together hits, and it caught up to them.
So looking back at a great season for Louisville and all the wins and the regular season conference championship, is it disappointing for you being a guy that follows U of L athletics and wants them to obviously to do well?
I tell you what, it's not disappointing as in you know, the season wasn't a great success. The season was a great success. In fact, I'm going to say this is the best Louisville team ever. This one here is the best Louisville team that they've ever put on the field.
Yeah.
And really, they accomplished a ton. And we talked a little before the show. Baseball's different than the NBA Finals, for instance, when you play a best of 7 and you really see who the better team is. even in Major League Baseball, when you play a 7-game series, baseball is such a random sport sometimes. I mean, you really got to play 100 games to see who the best one is, or 162 in major leagues. Because even in a 7-game Major League Baseball series, a team that's not as good as the other team can get hot. You know, the ball bounces their way. And baseball, you have a couple of bad days hitting, and you're gone. And, you know, today, everything they had opportunities. They had a runner picked off second base in an inning where they could have maybe scored some runs. Drew Harrington pitched great for Louisville, but he got some guys on base. Birdie has to come in the 8th. He brought Birdie in for 2 innings, so he gets him out of the 8th. Starts the 9th. I know Dan's thinking in his head, I'm going with this guy. I don't care. But when he started to walk guys, I'm like, get somebody up in the bullpen. I mean, if the guy's going, if he's going to just walk guys around the bases, you might have to bring another pitcher in. And they did get somebody warming up, even though I don't know if he was ready to come in. Let's say Birdie walks a run in. I don't know if he'd have been ready to come. I'd have brought the next guy in. That guy gets on base, Birdie's coming out if it's me, because he just didn't seem to have control of his stuff. And he was a little wild, just a little bit off on
I'm sure
pitches.
That's the pressure. This is and I know that he has been in stages like that before, but he's also struggled a bit in some of those stages. I know he's 21 or 22 years old, but that's a big moment. And there was a lot of pressure on this Louisville team to be the team to finally bring home a national championship, and they were the Vegas odds favorite to do just that. So is this, again, would you call this underachieving for this Louisville team? I think it has to be. It has to be.
Because of how the baseball is, I mean, yeah, you're disappointed. You had a team good enough to go further, but I know how baseball is. I mean, it can happen to the best of teams. I don't know if Florida won today, but they're on the brink, and they're the number 1 overall seed. When you look at the tournament, all of the top seeds were SEC and ACC teams. Well, the College World Series, at my last glance, had 4 teams in it earlier today. There's probably more in there now. Not one from the ACC or SEC. I mean, I think Miami's in now. But Texas Tech, Arizona State, Santa Barbara, Oklahoma State. I think Miami did get in. So at ACC. But you had all those top-seeded SEC and ACC teams, and very few of them are getting to Omaha. But you know what? It's happened 2 years in a row. I mean, I really think it puts the next year's team is going to be on such a mission. They're not going to have this. They're going to have a lot of good players back, but they had a ton of talent this year. A ton of talent. Corey Ray had a really. He's been in a slump, and he's their main guy, and he hasn't been hitting well. It caught up to him.
Yeah.
Yes. Taberry had a tremendous hitting series. Blake Taberry. You know, they had some great players. They really had some great players. They had some great pitching, and it was disappointing not to at least get to Game 3 with a chance to go.
Sure, and I do think you have to say it was a disappointing end, and I think it was underachieving a bit because you had an easy regional, and you all got through that without losing a game, and then really Vandy, they don't have a good showing in the tournament, and you would much rather have UC Santa Barbara coming to town. You're at home, everything's right there to get to Omaha, where you're playing in a stadium that you lost 1 game all year. It was underachieving, and I think if you're a U of L fan, it's okay to be a little disappointed with having all the highs that you had the season and to have it end so abruptly.
You know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that you could have gone further. You should have gone further, but we don't have the track record yet where I'm saying that's an underachieving season. I mean, I just don't think it was. You got knocked out in the Supers. That's the Elite 8. I mean, you got knocked out, not the Elite 8, it's the Sweet 16, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, I mean, they could have gone, they were good enough to win it if they got there. But it's all about getting there. They didn't get there. They let Santa Barbara hang around. They weren't sharp, especially at the plate. They got picked off, guys picked off bases. They got guys thrown out on the bases today. And now, you know what? I think now next year the pressure is on a little bit. If they get to a super regional, the pressure's on now to get back a little bit more. But Louisville goes down 4-3. If you have anything to say about that, give us a call, 964-2121. We come back, we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. Draymond Green is suspended. And we're going to, does TJ think that's warranted? What's he think about LeBron and this whole series right here at the Sunday Sports Buzz? Greg Brum and TJ Walker at the Sunday Sports Buzz. We were talking Louisville baseball. They go down. I mean, TJ said it's a little disappointment. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing. I don't think the season's a disappointment, so to speak, because they accomplished so much, and it's still a program going this way, it's to me. But Santa Barbara, you get Santa Barbara instead of Vandy, you probably took them lightly. You might have taken them a little bit lightly. You had them at home. You let them hang around. One swing of the bat, it's over.
Yeah, and that's a bummer. It's a bummer for a season in that way. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So Kentucky basketball falls short in championships or Final Fours, and everybody talks about how underachieving it was and how bad of a job Calipari did in that tournament, and they should have won it all. Is Louisville baseball getting a pass here?
The programs are different. Established
Sure,
championship pedigree. To me, it's like Villanova. Louisville's kind of like the Villanova basketball. You know, Villanova maybe should have gone further the times they were getting seeds. And the pressure heated up a little bit because they were getting the high seed and they weren't going and moving forward. I don't think people were beating the door down of Jay Wright and just pounding on him because the program was not consistently a blue blood program like Kentucky basketball. And that's the difference.
And I'm not
That's a little bit of the difference.
And I'm not talking about from a program standpoint. You are correct about that. But Louisville was the number 2 overall seed heading in here. And like I said, heading into this weekend, they were the Vegas odds-on favorite to win it all. And you get swept by the team that was the biggest underdog in the entire super regional field. That's not ideal. That is a bit, like I said, underachieving. And I think it's you just paid this coach $1 million. You have to get to Omaha in these circumstances. You have to. And that's and again, you're right. The pressure, and I think brighter days are ahead. There's no signs of cracking in this foundation for U of L baseball, but they should have gone to Omaha. And I think people are going to look back at that U of L team, like you said, probably the best U of L team of all time, and say, how did they not at least make it to Omaha? And that's okay. That's okay because there are brighter days ahead. But this is, I think, a big underachievement.
Yeah, I don't think it's big. I don't think it's a big underachievement because the program is not as established as Kentucky basketball. I mean, it's Kentucky basketball.
But it's not about the program, it's about the team.
It can be about the team. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's about the program too. When you're talking about the team and the program, I think you're melding it together when you set the expectation.
It'd be like
set the expectation.
It'd be like if that Steph Curry Davidson team. Let's say that team was a lot better and the favorite to win it all in the NCAA, and they lose in the Elite Eight. I don't think anybody would say, well, they're Davidson, so it's okay. People would say, that's a really good team, and they just got upset. Who cares what the name, and I'm not comparing U of L baseball to Davidson basketball because they were obviously well beyond that. But you'd say, forget the name on the jersey, that's a really talented team that has a bunch of pro players that for some reason they dominated throughout the regular season, and then they kind of slipped up in the tournament.
They had an off weekend. I mean,
they did.
Pitching-wise, they were okay until the last inning. Today was good.
It was great.
Today was good on the mound until – it just got shaky at the end. They didn't hit the ball. They did not hit the ball well enough like they normally do. And, that's all it takes. Boom, you're gone. I mean, it is like the NCAA tournament a little bit. On
you can have an off-shooting night and you're done.
The one-and-done nature of it, and they were out. All right, Draymond Green finally gets suspended. Had a little altercation with LeBron James at midcourt. LeBron stepping over Draymond, and Draymond takes a little swipe at him. Upon further review, guess where Draymond hit LeBron? Where he hits everybody.
What is with him and other guys' jump?
I don't know why. I mean, is that the first place he goes for?
It is. It clearly is. And I thought he kind of went at his junk twice, and maybe I'm the only person thinking that.
He did a little kick.
But there's one, if we can replay it again, there's one right at the beginning where it all starts, and I think that's what made. Let's see if you can see it here.
Yeah, I think so. Right, I thought he kicked up.
Right there, when he steps over him, I think he tries to get him with his arm, and then he goes back and they slap each other or push each other
should
or whatever.
He be suspended? Should he be?
I think given what that alone, probably no, but given everything he's done this entire NBA playoffs, I think I was actually pleased to see it. I think that's a big move to say, you know, this is the NBA Finals. You guys can clinch the championship, the ultimate goal for any team in the NBA, and you're going to have to sit out the game that you can do it. I think that is a very gutsy move.
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I think he should have been suspended before. The last time with Stephen Jones. I mean, this just tells actually what this says is you can hit Stephen Jones in the groin multiple times.
Stephen Adams.
Multiple times you can hit him in the groin and you're not getting suspended. But if you brush LeBron there, you're sitting down. But he should have been out before that. And I don't care if he purposely tried to hit the guy. It's reckless. I can walk through a crowded room swinging my elbows, and I'm not trying to hit anybody in the face. But if one of those elbows hits somebody in the face, that's on me.
Yeah.
That's my fault. I mean, it's reckless to be swinging and kicking your feet it's not a basketball move. I don't care. If that's the way you shoot, change how you shoot. You can't shoot that way. I might shoot, and then I might throw a punch after. I mean, there's got to be a line that's between what is part of the game and what's not. But I'm glad he's actually. I'm starting not to like him very much, actually. As a player, he's a little bit on the dirty side.
You know, we're maybe not too far away from having a Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins front line for USA basketball in the Olympics. That's going to be like Fight Club. They're just going to do the opening tip, and then they're just going to start punching the other team.
I'll be right behind them.
That would be the most physical front line, but also, again, dirty at times. But I'm happy to see him suspended, and hopefully he's trying to get in players' heads, and he's trying to get in the other team's head.
Yeah,
and
little Rodman in him, little Ron Artest.
Yeah,
maybe,
but there's other ways to go about it, and I think good trash talkers and guys that know how to play the mental game don't have to do with being physical like that or reaching for another guy's junk. But that being said, he did get in LeBron's he worked him up. And I think LeBron, it was hey, we know we're losing this. We know our backs are against the wall. Now we have to go win in Oakland. We'll have to win in Oakland twice. Basically, the series is over. I think it got to him, so that one little move set him over the edge. But we'll see how LeBron responds.
I'll tell you what, hey, Draymond, if he gets up and he shoves LeBron in the back, I don't even have a problem with that. It's just that he hit him once again where he hit him. I mean, that's got to be totally.
It's like you don't even know what he's doing.
Now, do you blame LeBron? People are giving LeBron heat for the step over.
Yeah. Well, so there was a big quote from Kevin Love who said that people take that as a sign of disrespect, which I don't know why you'd say that about your own teammate, but he is right. That is a sign of disrespect when you step over somebody like that. And I don't have an issue with it. I think he did that on purpose. I think he had intent to kind of embarrass Draymond Green, but I'm not going to get mad about LeBron doing that or say he's a dirty player or anything like that.
No, I think he was going to go over him and do a little. It was a little bit of a taunt. I think it looked worse because as he was stepping, Draymond starts to get up, and that kind of causes LeBron to elongate, the process of getting over him. It made it look worse.
Yeah, it almost made it look in slow motion.
If he was laying on the ground and you stepped over him like that, you're still taunting him, but it doesn't look quite as bad. Then LeBron getting some heat about the trash talk. He didn't like some. Yeah, I think you can cross the line on trash talk. I don't think anything goes. I don't think it's anything goes.
You don't think
it shouldn't be.
You think there's a line?
There should be.
Okay.
If there's not, then people have taken it too far. I think there should be a line.
Where is that line?
Well, you know it when you hear it.
Yeah.
You know it when you hear it. That's what. But I don't trust that Draymond Green stays on the correct side of any line, probably. No. But people are going to believe me. LeBron's going to hear it now.
Yeah,
he's going to hear it now.
And you had Klay Thompson. He said that LeBron was kind of being a baby about the whole thing. And again, LeBron, I think him as an underdog is always a scary thought to me. And I said this going into the series, and it hasn't really worked out for him there. But this will be LeBron. At some point, you got to put the team on your back. You're getting a Golden State team without Draymond Green. This is a chance to steal one in Oakland. This is. And if we can spend a whole segment on LeBron's legacy.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it the next segment, actually. Okay. What's LeBron need to do? Talk about his legacy versus Curry's legacy. Sure. The two players against it. I mean, two guys, same era, going against each other. Are we measuring them right now? Is there some statement being made in this series right here at the Sunday Sports Buzz? The Warriors lead 3-1. They're going back to Oakland for Game 5 tomorrow night, minus Draymond Green. LeBron, I think there's something at stake here for LeBron in Game 5. I really think so. He's been challenged with Draymond, Klay Thompson verbally now, saying he's being a little bit of a baby. The way he's complaining about trash talk, and he's really, I think, this is going to say a lot about where he stands right now in his career. To me, I mean, he needs to come out and take over, in my opinion, in Game 5. I think when he drives to the basket, he's looking to pass way too much. He's got to take it upon himself, I think, a little bit more to score him. Just take the whole team on your back. You can't always blame Kevin Love. You can't blame you don't have enough guys. You got guys. You got as many guys as anybody else except maybe the Warriors. And so I really think that he has to attack in Game 5. And there's a lot. I mean, it's going to say a lot about his toughness, I think, his clutch gene. And what's LeBron got? I mean, what's his intestinal fortitude like? And I want to see him attack in Game 5. But do you think that he has a lot on the line here?
Absolutely. He's kind of out of excuses. Any year that they haven't won, he hasn't won a championship, and he's been to 6 straight now. But even before then, he would always have some sort of excuse. And it'd be legitimate a lot of the times. Players would be injured, or sometimes the other team was just more talented, or LeBron maybe had some lingering injuries, or whatever it could be. But this is a team that he built with a coach that he basically picked. He
chose the players and the coach.
It's the Cleveland LeBron James out there. And it's everything that he wanted, and it has come together. I know Kevin Love's been a little banged up. That may be a blessing in disguise for the Cavaliers. But it's their moment. This is the team. This is what basically he came back to Cleveland for, is to have this team in this position, which they were in last year. But again, they did have several injuries. And if they fall short this year, what's to say they're going to get it next year? As long as the Warriors keep their core together, and I think there's probably a few other teams in the West that I'd put above the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if they don't do it this year, I think it's almost him saying, I need more help than what I already have. And it's a good team. It's not like his old Cavaliers days where it was literally just him and he gets the ball every possession. But it's not quite like the Miami Heat team.
He needs to play more like it's that team, in my opinion.
During the game last night, I tweeted out that it's baffling how few of possessions he touches the ball, where it should be at least probably 95 or 90%, I would think. Not where he necessarily has to score, drive, or attack, but at least let him be a decision maker. Have the ball in his hands and let him survey things. He's probably one of the smartest basketball minds out there. Yes. Let him figure things out. And Kyrie will just keep the ball to himself and pull up from God knows where. So I don't quite understand that. They need to get. You're right. He needs to go in attack mode. Game 5, I think this is a big moment for him.
I think it is. And what's been kind of surprising to me in this series, I don't think the Cavs have been that close. I mean, they won Game 3, but in the other games, I never really felt like they were going to win any of them. I mean, Golden State they're in their comfort zone. They haven't made them uncomfortable that much. And when they can win, when you were successful holding Curry and Thompson down and they're still beating you, I don't care if it was in Oakland. They're still beating you. I mean, what else do you got? Yeah. I mean, you took away their 2 best guys and they're still beating you.
And furthermore, it seems like when the Cavs are playing well, with the exception of Game 3, it looks so difficult. Like it's, oh, wow, that worked. Awesome. And then even when you have the Warriors playing poorly, they just snap their fingers and things go right back to where they are, and whatever deficit there was, it's gone just like that.
Cavs have no margin for error.
Exactly.
I mean, it's almost like they got to play perfect to maintain a slight lead on Golden State, where Golden State can kind of go in and out of their playing well and being a little sloppy. Look, you look up the scoreboard, they're still winning. They're still in control. Now, LeBron versus Curry. I mean, you got 2 guys. Look, I mean, Curry is entering his prime. LeBron is on his way. He's probably still in the prime, but he's on the tail end. Yeah. But, if Curry were to beat LeBron twice in a row in the finals, maybe with more to come in the future for Curry. I mean, what's this say about Curry versus LeBron? I mean, I think right now Curry's the better player right now. But does it say something about even the legacies of Curry and LeBron?
I think their legacies are going to be their own legacies based on what they do in their own careers, not necessarily compared to one another. But I used to be one of the people saying I think LeBron's the best basketball player to ever play, and I think you can still make an argument for it. But at some point, he does need to start winning championships. And that's what I think is going to push Michael Jordan ahead of him. Is maybe I can make arguments that I think LeBron's better, and just the physical specimen that he is unbelievable. But he hasn't won nearly as many championships as he needs. And then on the flip side, Curry, now he's starting to get in the conversation. Could he be maybe one of the better players ever? You win back-to-back championships, and you keep that core together in Golden State. Who knows? In 5 years, you could be saying, well, certainly the best shooter of all time, but maybe one of the better players. I'll say this. I do like that it's going back, basketball's going back to actual basketball, being able to shoot, penetrate, and pass instead of LeBron. And I love watching him play, but he's just, give me the ball, I'm going to be like a running back, and just it was just so physical, and there's so many fouls, and it's so ugly. Golden State, they don't even give you a chance to foul because they're so good, and they extend the defense so well that it looks more like real basketball, and I like that.
And LeBron's actually, I don't know if it just stands out more because the Warriors are so good from the perimeter, but LeBron's perimeter game has gone south, or else it was never up to par in the first. I mean, he doesn't score unless he's in the paint now.
I don't think he's ever been a great perimeter player from outside. He can knock down an occasional three, but he's very clearly more comfortable attacking. So if you play off far enough and give him that choice, in clutch situations, he's not going to take that shot because he thinks it's too risky, which is probably a smart move on his part.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little UK, U of L basketball, a little Ali. And we've got Stanley Cup tonight. Anybody watch? I don't think so. Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup. Belmont, we got U.S. Open, a little hodgepodge of things here at the Sunday Sports Buzz. Be back in a moment. All right, Greg Brom and T.J. Walker. Okay, Rick Pitino came out, T.J., I think it was a couple weeks ago. He said he didn't think the loss of Nanu would have any impact on his team. He's got plenty of depth in the front court. It might actually give these other guys, it might actually cause him less problems. He's going to get the other guys more equitable playing time. They'll be able to develop better. He's fine with it. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is it's devastating to lose Nanu. 0 is it will have no effect on this team and this team's performance, the outcome of next season. Where do you stand on the effect of no Chinanu Anuaku for Louisville basketball?
Well, I think it can be a full 10 devastating, but that doesn't necessarily mean Louisville has no chance at doing what they want to do. I think Chinanu Anuaku would have been maybe one of the better players in the ACC, and that's with a Duke team that might have 3 or 4 lottery picks on it. I've been a huge Anuaku fan since the beginning of last season, just watching his game and his growth and how good I thought he could be. And I thought he was really good this year, and the thought of him having another season under Rick Pitino and from a development standpoint, I thought he could have been, and you're seeing his passing right there, just a phenomenal player, maybe an All-American type of athlete. So losing that caliber player is devastating. Now, if you're going to lose a player, a really good player on Louisville next year, you'd want it to be a front court player because that's where the depth is and you have some other options down there. But I think Louisville did lose their best player for next year to the draft, so I don't believe Rick Pitino right then and there. But again, what else is he going to say? He's not going to say, we're depleted, this is awful, we're shutting down the season. But I think that's what he has to say, but it is a big loss.
You know what? I said it last week. I'm closer to 1. I'm closer to Rick because it's like UK losing guys to the draft. On a normal, UK loses a bunch of guys to the draft. You'd say, oh, it's terrible losing these great players. Well, guess what? They got more great players coming in, so it's on the devastation scale, it's very, very low when UK loses a bunch of players. Louisville loses Nanu. They've got 5 guys who are pretty good that are there, and actually a couple of them, to me, probably have NBA draft potential themselves. They might get more of an opportunity to shine. Ray Spalding, maybe he makes a Nanu-like jump from freshman to sophomore year. Maybe Honest, who showed flashes of having some offensive game, gets more of an opportunity. Maybe he develops some of the game. Nanu showed no versatility as a freshman, and all of a sudden he could pass, he could shoot, he could played smart basketball his sophomore year. I think I think it is on because of the position he plays and what else you have there. You get Mingo back. You can play some defense, some leadership. I think it's low because I don't think it'll affect the team that much.
I do think it affects the team more than you're making it out to be. But you are right. Again, you do have some players who will step up. Rick Pitino's obviously a great coach and a great developer who buys into his system. I obviously, on the show and on my radio show as well, very tough on Ray Spalding. And I, again, that goes back to me watching him in high school. Yeah. It's kind of, back in high school, he was a little lazy and didn't seem to take really go 100% every play. He was better on that aspect, but he seemed thin and small and was pushed around a little bit. He couldn't play in that UK U of L game because whenever he was in, Kentucky would just take advantage and go right at him.
And don't get me on, I think Rick had him throwing the ball in bounds. And
he did.
He threw it away like 3-4 times. I'm like, that's not the guy I want throwing it in bounds.
But you're right. If Chinatu Onuaku can make the leap that he did freshman and sophomore year, Raven Spalding.
Because Nanu as a freshman was Ray Spalding times about 4
it
on
was,
some of the inconsistency.
At least Chinatu had a big body where at least he could not get pushed around. But Ray struggled at times, but he can possibly make that leap. I'm just saying Onuaku was the sure thing. Where you're talking about Honest's offensive game showing some flashes, yes, you're right. Matt Yang coming back, and he's a good defensive player, sure. Raymond Spalding has a very high potential, so he could maybe reach that. But Onuaku, you had all those things already. So you're not hoping and wishing with those other players. With Onuaku, you have them there. Now, I still think this Louisville team should be one that goes into the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, maybe Sweet 16, maybe Elite 8. Once you're in the Elite 8, maybe Final Four. Who knows once you get in that game. But with Onuaku, I would have thought that's an Elite 8 team, no question about it, and probably maybe a Final Four team.
The one thing, though, if Onuaku comes back and his head's in it, and he's coming back for the right reasons, but my thought, he might come back and he might be just trying to get ready for the NBA. He might be working on his game in a way that's not contributing to what the team needs.
And there's truth to that.
I think he played great. I mean, he became a passer. He became, if he just kept doing those things and did them better, what a weapon he would have been. But I think by the time we get to ACC play, won't even notice that he's there.
I'm going to agree to disagree
it's like
on that.
Kentucky losing. To me, it's no different than Kentucky losing guys to the NBA draft because they're bringing in guys you don't know anything about. At least the guys that are there to replace Nanu, we know what we have.
Yeah, it's also kind of a negative to some extent. But I want to bring up this point. You're right. It seemed like there was a disconnect between Onuaku and Rick Pitino. Between Rick Pitino kind of relaying Anu's thoughts and feelings without talking to Nanu, I thought was kind of strange. And then Onuaku saying, no, I haven't spoken with Rick and this and that. It seemed like there was a disconnect. And Rick Pitino's gone out of his way to say, I don't want players coming back if their head's not in it or if they're not trying to help the team. And I think, did you sense that maybe it was, this could be a blessing in disguise?
It could be. Yeah. I think Nanu was gone the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever indecision. I think he was playing it up for Twitter followers, for attention, like a recruit who goes and does like 5 hats to put on their head. I think even the day of the decision, when Rick came out earlier and said, he's gone. Yeah. I've told you that the whole time. And Nanu immediately makes some type of statement that says, oh, I haven't made up my mind yet. Oh, well, that's when I really knew he'd made up his mind, is when he said that.
Yeah.
Because you knew at that point what you were going to do.
Well, I'm okay with that. A kid should have his moment.
He should. And
I thought that was kind of low class on Rick's part to do that. On the flip side, Rick,
I don't know why he did it either, even for the weeks before that.
Sure.
But
I do agree with you. I think Onuaku was clearly out the door as soon as maybe the suspension, the postseason suspension came down. Because that's when he started actually playing a little worse.
Well, and you know what? I don't think a lot of people tried to play something into his comments about the suspension. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I don't think it had much to do with it.
I don't think that did. I think that's when he made up his mind is, hey, I'm going to the NBA. I think it was back in February. So I agree with you where there was no drama there.
All right, our number is 964-2121. You got a comment. We're going to come back. We'll talk about Kentucky basketball. We'll talk about Murray in the draft. How high would you take Jamal Murray in the draft? TJ, right here at the Sunday Sports Buzz. TJ Walker is here with me tonight, and listen to TJ 4 to 6 Monday through Friday on 1450 WXVW. Also read what he writes on Rival Site, and he's an expert on Kentucky basketball. We're going to get to that in a minute. I want to ask you one other thing about Louisville. Rick has had glowing remarks about VJ King, Tony Hicks as well. He likes Tony Hicks and what he thinks he might bring to the team. About VJ, okay, what type do you think, and I'm trying to give it a comparison that Louisville fans can relate to, will he be better than Donovan Mitchell? Will his freshman season be better than Donovan Mitchell's freshman season? Will it be better than Shane Bohannon's freshman season? I mean, where comparable do you think as far as the amount of impact he will have?
What was Shane's?
I think Shane,
what was his
he
freshman
started
season?
and
what
you
was
know,
it?
He actually, it
was
was
it
the
2012?
Final Four. Yeah.
Okay. That, I would say it would probably be close to what Bohannon. I think it'll be better than Donovan Mitchell. I've been on the show and talked to you about it. I love VJ King, and Kentucky recruited him, and I thought it was a smart move by UK. John Calipari has had a tough time landing true threes, and that's exactly what VJ King is. He's a true three. He loves to play defense. He's long. He's very active, and that's
prospects.
Rick
for
Pitino,
for Rick.
exactly, and that's what Rick Pitino loves to have is very long, active defenders that can steal and just make life difficult on opposing offenses. So he does a lot of that offensively. It's just I remember seeing him his junior year, and okay, there was a lot to like there. Senior year, you went, wow, some of the stuff that was bad, it was so much better. He improved so much. So that makes me think, okay, give him another year, and what will he be able to do? He's a little inconsistent from outside, but a lot of high schoolers are. So as long as he can probably shoot around 30% from deep, I think that will be all Louisville could need from him. He can put it on the floor. He can slash. He's good at finding contact, finishing through contact. He's a really complete player, and I don't think he'll probably be a one-and-done, but it would probably be one of the closest true one-and-done players maybe Rick Pitino could have, depending on how much he plays.
He's that good. I mean, that's good news.
But the thing is Louisville's so deep at that position, and we know how Rick Pitino plays freshmen. He's not scared to let them figure it out on the bench. Calipari a lot of times play through the mistakes. Rick Pitino will say, play through it in practice, and we're going to be patient with you. Just let's wait a little bit. And also you got Dang Adele, and you've got Jalen Johnson. You've got some positions from 3 and stretch 4s and stuff like that. So I'm curious how much he's going to play, but I think by the end of the year he's going to be a player where you're going to have to play him. He's so talented. He can do so many different things. He's not great at one thing, but he's good at everything. I think Louisville fans are really going to like him.
Who takes the bigger jump this year for Louisville, Ding Adele or Donovan Mitchell? I mean, who makes the bigger leap?
That's tough. Rick has spoken very highly about Ding Adele, and I think that I would say Donovan Mitchell. I love his athleticism, and his shots start falling at the end of the year. So you got to think if he can start shooting at a high clip, how do you guard him if you're an opposing defense? Because he's quick enough to go by anybody in the country. He's athletic enough to just dunk from the free throw line at any given possession. But if he can start knocking down threes as well, then this Louisville team becomes really dangerous. And that's my biggest question for them next year is the guards. Because, again, on the wing, they're going to be fine. On the front court, even without Anuaku, I think you're going to be fine. The guards, who's going to be their scoring, who's going to get the majority of their points in the backcourt? And if that could be Donovan Mitchell.
They have to have somebody who can shoot.
That will be big.
There's got to be somebody who shows. These guys got to get better. It'd be great if a guy like Tony Hicks. I mean, I am optimistic about him coming in and contributing. I'm hoping that he is somewhere between, and Trey Lewis was a great leader, a great team guy. Trey Lewis, he really didn't have a huge impact, I think, offensively for the team, not like anywhere close to Damian. I hope he falls between Damian and Trey, kind of on the ability to score, maybe. Maybe, I don't know what type of player he is. You've seen him on film. What type of player is he?
Well, if he was a high school player, I could tell you everything that you'd want to know about him. Since he played, now he's played, 4 years in college, 3 years. I don't know as much as I would like to know about him, but he is somebody that can score. He's somebody that is a shrieky shooter, but if he's on, then he's really on. And I think it may be similar to Trey Lewis. Trey Lewis really had a roller coaster ride of a year. When he was really good, that Louisville team was really tough to beat. When he was bad, you had to ask a lot out of Quentin Snyder, and at times Snyder wasn't all that comfortable doing what he did. I think Louisville fans were a little spoiled with Damian Lee. I think he's going to go down as one of the better grad transfers in the grad transfer era. I mean, Kentucky got Julius Mays for comparison's sake. So Tony, I think he doesn't need to be a star. But But I think he needs to maybe bring something that Donovan Mitchell and Quinn Snyder don't bring. And from an experience factor alone, he's played a lot more college basketball. He's just played a lot more basketball in his life. I think he should be able to help in that department as well.
You know what, Rick, this team probably doesn't have, and really if he's on the recruiting trail, I could see him. He needs to find this type of player. It's the little quick guy that just is so fast and gets in your grill, can swipe it. Peyton Siva, Russ Smith, who just came out of nowhere, who had a freakish ability, I thought, which was so unique. But he doesn't have that bird dog, that just is all over the point guard of the other team, ability to take a steal at any moment, to drive past, to break down his defender and get in that lane. This team really, Quentin's not that guy. He's more a control guy. I like Quentin. But Rick, I think he needs to be out there finding that next guy. Because that guy is a Rick Pitino type guard.
Sure. A little kind of off topic, but on topic, is I was just reading a story on Rivals about a player that UK is now showing interest to named Quade Green that Louisville has offered and been on for a long time. He leads the Nike EYBL, which is the best AAU circuit around without question. He leads the Nike EYBL in steals and assists. He's the only player to lead in 2 categories. In the assists, he averages 10.7 per game in AAU. Second is a UK target, Trae Young, at 7. So he has averaged 3 more assists than the next player. That's just the player you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
Louisville's very high on him. He's high on Louisville. I'm not saying that Louisville's going to land them, but that's the exact player you just described.
Okay, we come back. We're going to talk about Kentucky basketball. Where would TJ draft Jamal Murray? And does Kentucky have enough experience coming back to make this a championship caliber team? Right here at the Sunday Sports Buzz. It was an emotional weekend around here with the Muhammad Ali procession and memorial on Friday. Also, we want to send our thoughts and prayers to Orlando, too. It was an awful event that happened last night that we want to let them know that we're thinking about them and support the people of Orlando. The Ali procession, that was something we will never see something like that again in this town. A service was inspiring. It was a tearjerker. It was, it was funny. It was energetic. What a day. As far as celebrating someone's life, what stood out to you in the course of the Ali events?
Well, I don't need to be the one to say what Muhammad Ali has meant to this city and certainly the state, even that far. And then you can take it to this country. And then he has impacted people all across the world. So I don't need to be the one to talk about his legacy and everything that he's done. But in such a tough time and losing such a great figure for this city, I thought that was probably the best moment in Louisville history. That Friday, seeing him and the procession go around the city and flowers thrown all over for a very long stretch of road. And I went out to Bardstown where the Watterson met. I had a lot of work to do. I said, you know what, this is something I don't want to forget. So I just left. I went by myself and was sitting out there, talked to a bunch of different people. And just when they drove by and everybody started chanting Ali and people were yelling, the champ's here, the champ's here. It was a scene from a movie, but it was real life, and it was at Bardstown and the Watterson. It was Bardstown going further south down Bardstown. It was downtown. It was in the Parkland neighborhood. It was everywhere. The city has never been so united in celebrating such a great life. And again, I think when you're talking about the best moments in Louisville history, that will be number one for our lifetime.
I tell you what, the outpouring, the people. I was at Bardstown Road by Bill Collins Ford down in that, right where they came out, and then I went home and watched the rest of it, and just the impact he had on all the people. And I said last week, as a Louisvillian, the inspiration he gives to everybody from this city, that a person from this city on our streets, grew up in our neighborhoods, could do the things he did and make the impact he did. It gives you courage. It gives you inspiration to try to do something great. It does. And you know what? Some of the speakers were fantastic. Reverend Cosby, he was phenomenal. John Ramsey, shout out to John. That was a personal speech and very touching and just perfect tone. Billy Crystal was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a memorable day. Nobody here will ever forget that.
So I had to do my radio show on Friday. So I was going to go to the ceremony, had to do the show. And normally we'll get dozens and dozens of texts and tweets into the show. And I realized nobody was texting or tweeting in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
And we basically just talked about going to the procession and kind of what it has meant for Louisville. And I just got to a point where I said, you know what, I'm just going to play the audio from the ceremony. I don't think too many people are listening to me. I think there's something bigger going on today. So I just played the audio, and it was great. And it was entertaining, and I went back and watched the parts that I missed, and a day that I will never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll go back to basketball now. Jamal Murray, I mean, there's some talk that he could be a possible #1 pick in the draft even. Would you take him #1, T.J. Walker?
I think he can be the best player in this class, but I would not risk, if I was a GM, I would not risk my job to take him.
So you would let public opinion dictate your selection?
I care about my job. I think he can be the best player in this class. I'm not saying he will be. Ben Simmons is obviously phenomenal, and Brandon Ingram, there's so much upside there. There's so much that he can do that, first off, I would take Ben Simmons #1, just in terms of a physical aspect and such a good passer and runs the floor so well. And no, his shot's not great, but there's been people that have been drafted that didn't have great shots that learned and became better shooters. I would take him one. And I love Jamal Murray. I think he's going to be a great NBA player, and you look at guys like Steph Curry, and I think every team wants some great shooters.
With the way the game's changed, that's why you consider him, is the way the game has changed to shooting being the #1 priority.
I agree, but I just think if you were to take him and then Ben Simmons or Brandon Ingram turn out to be the prospects that we think they could be, then you made maybe one of the worst decisions, not the worst, but one of the worst decisions in NBA draft history.
Does Jamal Murray, how's his handle with the ball? I mean, that's what separates Curry probably from a lot of people, is his ability to just, the ball, it's like he's not even dribbling. It's like he's carrying it because he can move with such agility and change direction with it and get himself that little bit of space necessary to shoot. We know Murray can shoot it, but can he get that space for himself?
Well, he's played point guard his entire career except for last year at UK. He's always been a point guard. And is he as careful and protective with the ball as a Tyler Ulis? No, he's not. But he's comfortable, and he can still do it. And he was the type of shooter where he could catch and shoot, but he could also just dribble around and then kind of put you to sleep and then just shoot.
His shooting ability, he could be close to the Thompson Curry type level.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the way he shoots now.
He did all this as a freshman, remind you. And one that reclassified, too. So
I'm with you on his shooting
He should be going into college right now.
Okay, UK, Briscoe comes back. Okay, he's going to go play at Cal for another Cal.
Yeah, not
the University of
Cal.
California. Yeah. But, so Lee's gone. Briscoe's back. You got Willis, who had a little incident this weekend. Looks like a little college
Yeah, 9
arrest.
days before his 21st birthday.
Yeah,
unfortunate. He's got to be smarter than that.
Willis, you maybe got Hawkins. Do they have enough experience coming back to win the title? Because the title teams and the great Kentucky teams that Cal has had, they've had the great recruiting class, but they also had pretty good returning. I mean, the level of talent that returned was exceptional. Is this returning talent good enough?
I think it can be. I think you've got guys that have played in Final Fours, and Dominique Hawkins and Derek Willis and those. I think it can be, but that's something we're not going to find out until they get on the floor together. If they have to rely on the freshmen right away from day one, that'll be a little concerning. If they can ease them into it, then they're going to be okay. I think they'll be fine.
You know what? They'll be fine. I don't know if they have enough of the better players or the experience. I don't know if Briscoe, he's got his offense. Hopefully his uncle's right, or his father, whoever said he needs to score more. All right, TJ, good luck this week on your show. Listen to him. Follow us